Yep, there's a connection. There is live feed. And I think with all that said, we can get things started on this one. Yes, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast once again, where this time around we're gonna have a lot more fun, and we got a lot more interesting things to talk about in the wonderful world of animation. Now, before I begin though, I just would like to go and start things off by saying thank you all so much, and more specifically, thank you for showing me the recent support after last week's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Now, if you guys don't remember, what happened last time was that I've revealed something that I've held on for many months, which is why I quit the website Mr. Code and Friends, due to the toxicity of Mr. Code himself as an individual and the toxicity of his fan base, down to the point where some of them, including individuals like Chris Estrada and Sebastian Villages, would use alt-right tactics by spreading lies and conspiracies in order to go and slander my name. It was pretty tough for me to let it out. It was pretty tough for me to go and discuss this, but I feel like it was the right time so that no one else would get hurt into the situation. And since then, I have received such an overwhelming amount of support where people came out with their stories about their problems with Mr. Code, whether it be himself or among his community, or just to help me out with coping after letting all this information out. And honestly, I felt great. You know, it just feels absolutely wonderful seeing all this support, people helping me out with this situation. And again, it wasn't easy for me to do, especially when I've held it in for several months. And now that we finally exposed all this, hopefully there can be some good that can come out of it, and hopefully all the lies and the slandering can finally stop. And if people like Chris Estrada would go and come back and continue using alt-right tactics by spreading lies about me, at least we know that we could be ready and we can confront these bullies. So with all that said and done, thank you guys so much for your great support. And I can say right now that things couldn't be better since I've left Mr. Code. I should have done that a long time ago, because honestly, myself individually and also my website, and also, well, more specifically, my YouTube channel has been better than ever, especially when just recently my YouTube channel just hit 90,000 subscribers. Yay! So yeah, all this to say, thank you all so much. And also, on a side note, I would like to say congratulations to Felicity and Aiden, because they have succeeded in their Indiegogo campaign. Now, if you guys remember, this is the documentary all about hand-drawn animation, and recently, just a few days before the actual campaign would close, they have managed to successfully reach their $15,000 goal. And now this means that they will be able to go and get interviews with many other special guest stars, especially ones that are in California. And now their lineup of interviewees, believe it or not, is now much bigger and much better. Like, I got the full list right over here, and I just want to go and check it out. Now, when I went and did an interview with them, I mentioned how apparently they did confirm to get Eric Goldberg to be on board and be an interviewee. But now there is much more than Eric Goldberg that is on board. I got the list right over here, just reading it. And apparently they got the people from Cartoon Saloon and SPA Studios, which are confirmed to get an interview, which includes director Tom Moore and also the man who is credited to be the creator of Despicable Me, Sergio Pablos. They also got James Baxter, they got Floyd Norman, they got Jorge Gutierrez, there's Eric Goldberg right over here. They also got Dai Susumi, the Oscar-nominated director of The Dam Keeper, or did he win the Oscar? I don't think so. Well, the Oscars recognized Dai Susumi for The Dam Keeper, that I know. They also got people like Tony White, Matt Williams, Nico Colaleo, Joe Daniels, Sandra Ardivas, and on top of that, they also got Justin Murphy. They got Brian Kessinger. They got Adam Blaze. And they even got some online personalities. They actually got some people you know from YouTube. They got Vivian Medrano, also known as VizzyPop. They got Chris O'Neill, also known as OniNG. They got Zach Hadell, also known as Psychic Pebbles, and so much more. So now that they have achieved their $15,000 goal, now they will actually be able to get an interview from these people, and it will make the hand-drawn documentary a lot more exciting, a lot more fascinating, and it's going to be epic. Now, they told me that the documentary will most likely be coming out in 2020. If lucky, and if everything goes amazingly and quick, then it could be like late 2019, but it will most likely be out around 2020, so stay tuned for that. But this is all to say that it's great to hear that the hand-drawn documentary has managed to achieve their goal. Okay, so with all that said and done, are you guys ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear a chat. Well, are you guys ready? Come on, let's go ahead. Let's get things started. I've already said enough of my thank yous and congratulations, so let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty of this actual episode. Alright, so I see so far people are now... Can I finish eating? Can I finish my taco? Alright, fine, finish your taco. But we're gonna get things started anyways, because everybody else seems to be pretty much ready. And now we are gonna go and begin with our first story by talking about Disney's Thanksgiving message. Now, apparently, Disney decided to step in and decided to go and say thanks to everybody, you know, kind of like what I just did to the hand-drawn crew. And they decided to say, you know, happy Thanksgiving and thank you guys so much. We're thankful for all of you, and hopefully you guys are having a great time watching Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, or to go and spend time with family, or eating your turkey. Oh, and on a side note, here's a trailer for the Lion King remake, so let's go and check that one out.
Remember.
So that, ladies and gentlemen, right out of the blue, is the teaser trailer of the live-action remake of The Lion King. And let me just start this off by saying, holy crap! When I first heard, or when I first saw on social media that this thing came out, like, honestly, I was in a moment of disbelief. It's like, this can't be it. Is this it? Wait, is this actually it? Oh my god, has the time finally come that we got to see this? Oh my god, this is actually for real. Yes, the moment has finally arrived where we will finally see, or we have finally got our first ever public look of the live action remake of The Lion King. And let me just say right now, does it look amazing? And I mean, it's obvious that this is from Jon Favreau, like straight out of the live action remake of The Jungle Book, because that's probably the one thing that we can mention right here is that the visuals just look absolutely fantastic and also photorealistic as well. Like, you do see the details on many of the characters, like here's Rafiki, for example, and also staying a bit true. Like, while it does lean a little bit more into realism, you do see the hints of the designs that were from the original animated feature, trying to make sure it stays true to everything. And even like right over here, the circle of life scene, where we see like Rafiki putting the little thing on Simba and then holding him up, like that famous scene right over here. You know, it's pretty much an entire recreation of The Lion King. So at least what this trailer is saying to us is that it is trying to stay true to the original 1994 animated feature, that it wants to honor it and try to make sure that these scenes can come alive, but in live action as well, using a lot of CGI. So far, there isn't a whole lot to mention about this trailer in particular, and we have yet to fully see any of the other characters. I mean, the only ones so far that are really that prominent are just Simba and Rafiki, and that's pretty much it. We have yet to fully see, like, Timon and Pumbaa, we have yet to see Zazu, we have yet to see Scar, and we have yet to even see Mufasa. Like, it's great that we get to hear James Earl Jones's voice, and it does sound like this is a new recording of James Earl Jones. This isn't something like they copied from the original animated film, or what I mean is that they didn't literally take the clips from the animated film and put it in here. Like, this is new recordings by James Earl Jones, who, by the way, is reprising his role as Mufasa. So it does resonate very well that this is going to really stay true to the original, even though we have yet to fully see a whole lot, just little snippets of the Circle of Life bits. And but again, this is just a teaser trailer. It's not meant to show us all that much. So it only gave us a little bit of a taste, and it gave us basically all this is just a first look of how this is going to be. However, with that said though, even though it does seem pretty exciting that we finally got this at first, I will say that this is the kind of trailer where it does get you very excited the moment you first see it, but then the more you would go and think about it, the more you realize, yeah, this isn't all that great when you do think about it. Because the thing is, yeah, it is nice that it does stay true to the original. But then again, it does bring up the question, what else is this movie going to do that we haven't already gotten with the original 1994 animated feature? Because so far with this film, the only thing that it's going to tell us, it seems like it's going to be a shot-for-shot remake of the animated film. And that's pretty much it. That's all it's telling us. And at that point, it doesn't necessarily seem that exciting, because now this Lion King remake now faces a similar obstacle than with Toy Story 4, where people will go and ask, what is this going to offer that I haven't gotten already? So in a way, some people could see this a little bit similar in the way that they also saw that first Toy Story 4 teaser trailer, where it didn't necessarily offer us a whole lot in terms of substance. It's only telling us that, yes, these characters are going to be coming back. We are going to see Simba and Rafiki and Mufasa back on the big screen, but it doesn't necessarily offer us anything new. It doesn't offer us anything unique. It doesn't offer us something that we haven't already gotten before. So I think at this point, I do feel a little bit surprised that they didn't release another teaser trailer where it's Timon and Pumbaa reacting to the teaser trailer in the same way that Key and Peele already did to Toy Story 4. You know, like, we just see Timon and Pumbaa relaxing, like, Pumbaa, have you seen the new trailer? What? The new trailer, Pumbaa. The trailer for The Lion King. What? I thought they already made 3 movies. They did make 3 movies, Pumbaa, but now they're making a live-action remake. Oh, snap, Timon. You know, just do stuff like that. But yeah, I guess this is going to be the only thing that Disney is going to release in order to really sell this movie. So that's pretty much the big thing, and the biggest obstacle that this movie is currently facing is to know what can they offer that they haven't already from the animated film. Like, what's stopping people from seeing this movie when they can just go and watch the animated film and get the exact same thing? Now, maybe this could be something that they could solve when they would release the actual full trailer, which at this point I am predicting maybe they're going to go and release that when the live action remake of Dumbo actually does get released, but I guess we will have to wait and see. But also at the same time, there is something worth noting regarding the visual effects. And while they do look pretty impressive, I remember chatting with Morgan. You might remember Morgan. He was a special guest star here once in AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And there was something that he mentioned to me, which honestly, I feel like is really worth noting here for this podcast, I feel like I need to go and express it because he does bring up a very interesting idea and a very interesting opinion regarding the visual effects and how it might not actually work. And the thing is that, as you can see, everything is trying to be realistic. Like, they're trying to make the characters look highly detailed. Like, here is baby Simba, and you see, like, all the fur that's on him, and even, like, the realistic little details on his eyes, and even the fur on Rafiki's hand, and all that kind of stuff. Like, they want to try to make this as a highly realistic recreation of The Lion King. However, one thing that they do not have in this movie that we have yet to see so far is something actually from live action in order to balance everything out. Like, a good example would be, think back of Jon Favreau's The Jungle Book, the 2016 live action remake. In that film, what makes the visuals really amazing and well balanced is that even though 99% of that movie is completely made in CGI, there is that one component that is from live action in order to balance everything out, in order to have a bit of a comparison and have a bit of an organic feeling that, yes, people can interact with these CGI creatures, and that is with Mowgli. So at least with Mowgli being a live action person, like, it does balance things out with the live action world. Here, it doesn't seem like there wouldn't be anything that is going to be live action based. Like, we're not really going to see any live action humans or anything like that. So, it just feels a bit uncanny. And I think that's the perfect word to describe it negatively in terms of the visuals for the Lion King live action remake, is that everything just seems uncanny. And it is true that with a lot of the ways that these animals move, especially like right at the beginning right over here, like when you see the antelopes rise up their heads, like this one right over here, it doesn't seem all that organic, and it does feel like everything is made more out of computer than something made out of real life. Like, these aren't necessarily real animals, and in a way it would give out that Image Movers digital vibe in a sense. So that's kind of the big thing to mention about the Lion King remake, and I do see what he is talking about, because there are times when it does seem like, oh, maybe like the animation doesn't look all that great, and like basically it's to say that, you know, even though it looks nice at first, it can seem a little bit weird considering that there is nothing legitimately live action to go and compare it to. Now, sure, maybe like the environments are actually real, like these are actual shot footage of Africa, and they decided to go and add in CGI animals a little bit later. Like, that could actually be the case, but unless there is an actual human that could be involved here, it just doesn't necessarily feel like the CGI is real. Like, what we are seeing is a legitimate live action remake of The Lion King. So overall, that's just my thoughts on this teaser trailer of The Lion King, where, yeah, at first it does seem really impressive and the CGI does look stunning, but once you think about it, it does give you a little bit more questions than it does answers, and hopefully we will get a little bit more information, hopefully we will see a little bit more clips, and hopefully it will show us a little bit more about what it can actually offer instead of just a shot-for-shot remake of The Lion King. I really do like Jon Favreau as a director. I think he is great at his job, and I really do enjoy a lot of his movies, including the 2016 live-action remake of The Jungle Book. I still think it's the best live-action remake that Disney has brought to us so far, so honestly, I feel like at this point, yeah, there is a lot of questions, but we do have to wait and see what else it can go and offer. And hopefully it will do something great. And hopefully we will see something a little bit more than just what we have already gotten with the 1994 Lion King. And on top of that, there is one more comment that I would like to add about this. It's just that if there is one thing that I am not excited, in fact, that I really do dread about this Lion King remake, it's not necessarily anything from the movie itself, but more regarding the big debate. And the big debate that it is still happening right now whenever someone would bring up the Lion King live action remake, it is the infamous animation debate. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it is the debate if rather this Lion King remake would be considered live action or animation, because I can already tell on social media that this is something that is quick and easy to go and create like a massive flame war, because I can already see one side of the people in the argument where, honestly, I know it might sound a little bit mean, but the best way to describe it is that if you would mention to those people that this is a live action remake of The Lion King, they get triggered. And they get emotionally frustrated whenever you would mention this as live action, and they would go and freak out by saying, "No, it's not live action, it's an animated film, there's no people in there, and it's actually all CGI, you know, just making all that, you know, just that kind of argument. And for me, honestly, I feel like I'm gonna step away from that argument, because honestly, that is way too much trouble than it actually is. Because honestly, for me, I feel like at this point, it doesn't necessarily matter what you would label it. It doesn't matter if this is a live action remake. It doesn't matter if it's an animated remake. You can even consider it a claymation remake for all I care. The important thing to note is that at the end of the day, it's a Lion King remake, and we're going to get it regardless of what you will call it. A live action remake, an animated remake, it doesn't matter. This movie is going to come out regardless. So that's honestly my feeling on it, but I feel like it's probably best to step away from the argument, because I feel like it could turn, like, honestly, that argument and that little piece of controversy, I feel like it's gonna get out of hand and it would be a disaster so quickly. So for me, I don't care. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's a Lion King remake regardless. So, with all that said and done now, let us go into the chat wall. And I would like to know, what do you guys think about this teaser trailer of the Lion King remake? Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys really like this one? Do you have high hopes for it? Or do you feel like you have any doubts? Do you think you hate it? Let me know what you think. Okay, let's see now. Alright, here's my little mouse. Just want to see. Although it looks visually amazing, I can't help that this photoreal Lion King remake seems 100% unnecessary. Did Disney ignore Roger Ebert's warning of a shot-for-shot remake for being pointless and an evaluated experiment just to make a quick buck? Well, I mean, then again, can you point to me to literally any of the Disney live-action remakes and tell me which ones are necessary? Because that's the thing, because you can argue that every single live-action remake that they've brought out so far is completely worthless. It's completely unnecessary. And again, this is just a teaser trailer, and even though it's only showing us, like, just stuff that they've recreated from the animated film, maybe we will see in the future. Like, honestly, I'm not going to label it just yet as a shot-for-shot remake and get all emotionally invested on it, so honestly, I feel like, in terms of that argument, we'll have to wait and see until we see more evidence of what this movie actually could be. So just stay tuned for that. Okay, let's see now. I'm looking forward to it. Yes, I know we got the original, but I'm open-minded to it. I'm considering this movie as an animated film, the best-looking animated film ever. If it had humans, then it would be a live-action movie, but we need to wait and see soon. Sadly, Be Prepared isn't in this. I just hope there's a new song replacing it, and hope it'll be good. Oh my god, that is so true, because I remember I have actually made that video in my old podcast where I talked about how Be Prepared is not one of the songs that's going to be coming back in this live action remake of The Lion King, and my god, I don't think I've made a video that really made people so angry. Now, granted, like, it's great that they're not angry at me, but still, like, people got so emotionally invested. Like, I've seen people get so frustrated, even to the point of calling out a boycott to Disney because of that little thing right there. Like, it is honestly crazy. Okay, let's see. What other comments do we got? I'm not that impressed on this trailer since they copied into beat by beat, and the reason they're making this is because next year is the 25th anniversary of the Lion King franchise. That is actually true, but honestly, it is pretty interesting so far in terms of the reactions that we got. Let's see, we got one more. I honestly don't have a lot to say here. Jungle Book was alright, Donald Glover is always great, the visuals are fantastic, it looks nice. Now if you excuse me, I've just been shot, so let me just say on my behalf, I'm in pain! Yeah, someone call the police! Oh god. Dude! JF, are you okay? JF! Ah, crap, someone called the hospital. Oh god, America. You and your guns. Alright, anyways, okay, one more actually. I'm really excited for this. I love The Lion King, and it's a personal favorite of mine. I look forward to seeing this in theaters, and I think baby Simba looks adorable. The background and character designs are really well done, and I look forward to see this more than what the film will be like. Okay, so I think with all that said, that really does show that we got a lot of mixed reactions here. Like, we got a lot of people who are excited for this and a lot of people who are not excited for this. So, honestly, this is going to be quite intriguing, I will say. So, I am actually very interested to see more coming out of this, to see how people are going to react. But, yeah, so far, I will say right now, the reactions are very intriguing. So, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, and hopefully, for the movie's benefit, they will show more than what we already got, and hopefully it will prove people wrong that it is not a shot-for-shot remake of the 1994 animated film. At least I hope, for the sake of this movie. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next story right over here, in which we got another trailer. Now, we've already gotten the first trailer of this movie, and it's actually pretty interesting to note, considering that people were quite underwhelmed by it, and people were a lot more interested in all the other trailers that were released at the time. But it seems that right now, it's coming back, and it wants to make sure that it could get a second chance, and hopefully, maybe it will bring in more people to show that maybe it could actually be as good as the first movie. Now, let's go right ahead and jump onto our next trailer, in which we got the second trailer for the Lego Movie 2, the second part. And by the way, one more thing I would like to note is that, funny enough, I have never seen this trailer. I've honestly didn't even bother to check out anything else that came from it, so honestly, this is going to be my first reaction to this, so let's go and see what happens. Alright, let me just go and set myself up, and let's begin this trailer in 3, 2, 1, go.
Once.
Or me, when I'm late to school and I forgot my homework and my pants are made of pudding?
No, I don't.
Okay, so that was the trailer for the Lego Movie 2, the second part. And if you guys remember back when the first trailer came out, like I said before, it just felt a little bit underwhelming. Mainly because I'm sure a lot of people would have high hopes for a sequel for the Lego Movie. But when it came out, it just feels like it's just mostly parodying Mad Max, like most other recent movies right now, if they want to try to make a parody of a post-apocalyptic world. And it doesn't necessarily offer us anything too much new with it, other than going into the Sys-Star system. Now, technically, with the first trailer, I guess you could call it a little bit as a teaser in a way, since it doesn't necessarily reveal too much. But in here, I will give it that it does give us a little bit more information in terms of how it's going to be. Excuse me for a sec, I just need to go and prepare myself for... Okay. Just need to let that out of my system. But anyways, going back to what I was saying, like, we do see a little bit more of what's going to happen. We do see a little bit more of what this could offer. But honestly, looking at this, I can't help but still feel a little bit iffy. Like, I don't see how this is going to get up to the levels of the first Lego movie. If I can be very honest with you guys, like, for me, the biggest problem with it is that it feels like it's gonna offer us a story that feels very predictable. In a way, a lot of this just feels like what I've recently gotten with Ralph Breaks the Internet, where now like our old characters like Wild Style, Batman, Unikitty, and all those people, they're gonna go into the Sistar system, and then suddenly they're gonna be really enjoying their new environments. Like, for example, hold on. Yeah, like, suddenly we see, like, Unikitty in her little palace, and then, like, everybody is having fun in their little place in the Sistar system. It's, like, all nice. It's all happy. But then, like, it's up to Emmett to go and try to save everybody, along with a new character named Rex, which I will say right now, probably my favorite thing that did come out of this trailer is Rex. In a way, it's funny how they actually made him as a satire of Chris Pratt. And, well, as you guys probably know, Chris Pratt is Emmett. Like, he is the star. And it is pretty obvious that he is a parody, especially when he is also a raptor tamer, and he has, like, an entire crew of raptors in his little spaceship. And also we see Emmett right over here giving little tickles to one of the raptors. So I do see where a lot of the humor is a little bit cute. You know, it does seem a little bit fun. But still, there is also another part of me that feels like, yeah, this is not going to achieve the levels of the first Lego movie. So honestly, I look at this and I feel like there is a massive mixed bag right over here, where on one hand, the new characters that they have introduced, like we got the new queen, for example, that would go and transform into all different shapes and sizes. And then, like, at one point we see the queen turning from, like, this horse character to, like, this octopus abomination. And I could definitely see a lot of creative possibilities for the animators to really go and play around with it, especially even in this trailer, especially with the little transformation. Like, if we see this little clip once again, we see, yeah, it's suddenly all the different kinds of transformations. So probably we'll see several of this happening at the same time during the movie. So there will be a lot of creative possibilities. So maybe animation wise, it will definitely deliver, but it's just story wise, I feel like it's not going to be all that great. It's not going to be something that's going to deliver that well. And oh my god, I just noticed actually, I'm right now watching the little Unikitty scene where, like, she's in her own palace in a giant house that resembles her, and, like, just on the little side, I don't know if you could see it, like, right here, I believe, like, I'm trying to remember his name. I believe this is Puppycorn from the animated series. So honestly, that would actually be really cool and a fun little nod if they actually do have cameos from the Unikitty show, like where we do see characters like Puppycorn. Oh wow. Well, that's actually an interesting discovery there. But yeah, honestly, going back to what I was saying, yeah, honestly, I look at this and I feel like this is going to be a massive mixed bag. I feel like it will definitely deliver visually, but story-wise, I really do question it. Even though, yeah, they can bring in some cool characters that will supply a lot of fun humor, especially with Rex, but other than that, it still needs to do a little bit more to really convince me that this would be a sequel that would be worthy of the cultural impact that the first Lego movie has done. So honestly, I don't know, I do have a little bit of mixed feelings, so for me, I guess I'll just have to wait and see when the movie would get released. So, with all that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall right over here, and I want to go and ask you guys, what do you think of this second trailer of the Lego Movie 2, the second part? Did you guys really enjoy it? Does it make you really excited for this one? Are you guys not sure about it? Let me know what you think right over here. So, let's start things off. The new trailer does make Lego Movie 2 look more interesting than the previous, but still not hyped up too much for it. As long as it's a good continuation and not a disappointing though, I'll be content with it. Okay, that does sound interesting. So, I will give you that yes, it is true. This is a bit of a better effort of a trailer than the last one. Like, we do see a little bit more, and it shows us what more it can offer, and also what new it could also offer as well, especially with the new characters, and especially a little taste of what's going inside the Sistar system. So yeah, it is definitely a better trailer than the first, but still not necessarily enough to convince us that, yeah, this is going to be something awesome. This is going to be something great. So I guess we'll see. All right. Let's see now. When I first saw this trailer, I was still wondering if they would give Emmett a partner to join him, because I would be surprised if they didn't do that. However, I shouldn't be too surprised, because that is something that happens with a lot of animated films. The trailer was still funny in my opinion, so I hope it's good, but I am just waiting for Warner Animation Group to release the Scooby-Doo movie, and when the Hanna-Barbera Cinematic Universe movies, I want that now. Yeah! Honestly, that will be an interesting thing to keep an eye out on, so I guess right now they're just riding the wave of the Legos, and then once that's done, we can get immediately right onto the classic properties, like with the Looney Tunes and Hanna-Barbera. That will be really interesting to see how they can pull that off. Let's see now. I'm honestly quite excited for this film. I love the first film. I actually watched it as a YouTube ad yesterday before one of your videos, since the marketing let people watch the entire thing for free for Black Friday. The animation looks amazing, and I love Emmett's naive personality. It may be an unpopular opinion, but I'm looking pretty forward to it. Okay, that's interesting. The main reason why I'm not very hopeful for this film is because the director of Alvin and the Chipmunks, Chipwrecked and Trolls, Mike Mitchell, is directing it. I hope the movie surprises me. Well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of a mixed thing. Yeah, on one hand, you got the director of Trolls working on this one, but on the other hand, Lord and Miller are still attached to it, not just as executive producers, but they are also the writers. So hopefully some of that Lord and Miller touch will be able to shine onto this movie. So yeah, I guess it'll be a bit of a gamble, but we will wait and see with how the outcome will go. So we'll just see what happens with that. Let's see now. I think it's the safe movie to see if people are still interested in the franchise. If it flops, then they'll probably just make a cartoon series. Well, technically they already did make a cartoon series with Unikitty, just saying. If it succeeds, then they'll make a continuous series of movies, I think. On its own, though, I think it'll be a predictable but fun romp. Okay, that is an interesting perspective. I highly doubt if they would really want to try to crank out more Lego movies, considering that they did try to plan out many more Lego movies, but some of them ended up getting canceled, like the Billion Brick Race. But, you know, it is an interesting perspective. Maybe, like, if this is a success, then maybe Warner Brothers will consider a Lego Movie 3. So, I think with all that said, though, I think we're pretty much all good with this trailer right over here, and don't worry, this isn't going to be like the previous episodes where I got a whole bunch of trailers. Now we will actually go and move on to some interesting news to go and discuss about. And for our next story that we have right over here, we actually got the comeback of a classic cartoon character. Now, we have already seen the comeback of characters like Simba and Emmett, but now we're going to go much older, and we're going to see a little return of Woody Woodpecker. Yes, Universal Pictures has officially announced that they are going to be making a brand new YouTube series of Woody Woodpecker. They already got 10 episodes made, and it is actually going to be directed by Alex Zam. Now, Alex Zam, you may remember, he is the guy who actually directed the 2017 live-action animation hybrid of Woody Woodpecker. And on top of that, we even got a little quick trailer. This one is just 20 seconds long, so let's go ahead and just watch this one out. Like, I just picked out an article from Variety, but luckily they did actually go and put out this little clip right over here. So let's go and check that little piece out.
Guess who? Yeah, you better believe it. It's me, Woody Woodpecker. I'm back, and I want to let you featherheads know first all about the 10 brand new cartoons. So join the party with all my friends. Pretty cool, huh? Booyah!
So, yeah, that is just our little clip. of the Woody Woodpecker YouTube series that they got. And on top of that, we do have some quotes as well. We got one from Alex Zam right over here, reading from my source in Variety, as he stated, "Woody Woodpecker is my favorite impish trickster. It was an incredible honor to take a legacy character just like this and create a whole new series of cartoons for him to star in. And, ooh, excuse me, well, that came out of nowhere, didn't it? And it was also great to be able to include many of Walter Lance's other beloved characters." And on top of that, we also got another quote coming straight out of Rob Bell, the EVP of International New Media and NBC Universal Global Distribution, as he states, "When we launched Woody Woodpecker on YouTube in 2017, the channel immediately resonated with, and the dedicated Portuguese channel from Brazil was a breakout hit. We knew there would be a unique opportunity to do more with this favorite classic character." Now, one thing to go and note is that, as you guys probably know, even though Woody Woodpecker is not all that well known of a cartoon character here, like, people don't necessarily care about Woody as much as either Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny. In Brazil, he is a frickin' legend, and probably the YouTube channel actually does prove that. Now, there are 3 Woody Woodpecker YouTube channels, one in English, one in Spanish, and one in Portuguese. And to read my little source here, it states that the Brazilian channel has attracted more than 2 million subscribers, and the Spanish channel has more than 700,000. And here I am boasting around that I got 90,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and then here comes Woody getting all 2 million subs right from Brazil. Like, what the fridge? But yeah, basically, it is clear that Universal really does want to continue the legacy of Woody Woodpecker, but not necessarily for Americans, but more for the Brazilians. And, you know, if I may give a little bit of my thoughts, like my little piece right over here, about what we have just seen with this little 20-second trailer of what we'll get with Woody Woodpecker, honestly, it's exactly what you would expect coming from a YouTube series about Woody Woodpecker that is directed by the same guy who did the 2017 movie. It's exactly what you would go and expect, especially in terms of the quality, where it's a lot more lenient on flash animation, even though there are a little bit, you know, there is a little bit of some some legit animation, like some hand-drawn animation, but a lot of it is just obviously trying to be, yeah, like we see some hand-drawn moments, like especially with Woody going but yeah, it's just a lot of it is flash animated. You know that this thing has an extremely limited budget, like they don't really have a lot to work with, and even the designs, they don't look all that great, honestly. Like you look at Woody here, for example, I don't know, for some reason, it looks like they gave him a chin. Like, you see his bottom beak, like, it looks like they kind of gave him this jowl. They gave him this prominent jaw, which kind of looks kind of weird, honestly. Now it just makes Woody looks like he's starting to transform into Buzz Buzzard, Buzzy Buzzard, or I'm trying to remember his name. Like we just saw him, like this guy right over here. Yeah, the buzzard guy. I don't know, his name kind of escapes me. But also, we do see a little bit of a clip seeing all the different characters in order. And you see some of their designs, like, honestly, they don't look all that great. Especially with Wally Walrus. It's just, I don't know what happened, what they did to this guy, but yeah, he doesn't look all that great. Now, for me personally, I do enjoy Woody. I'm not saying he's my favorite character, but I do enjoy some of the classic cartoons, and I remember I actually do enjoy watching the classic anime, well, not the classic, but the animated series from the early 2000s. I think that's the one with Billy West voicing Woody. Maybe you guys remember that one, but yeah, honestly, looking at this, it's just, I don't know. It's just I don't have a lot of faith with this YouTube series in particular. But again, this is just a YouTube series directed by Alex Zam, so I can't expect any greatness coming out of it. But I will say this, though. There is one thing coming out of this YouTube channel that I am honestly pretty excited for. And honestly, it's something that sounds very interesting. And let me go and read this to you. It states here, going back in Variety, a 13-minute documentary has been created to complement the new cartoons. Bird Gone Wild, the Woody Woodpecker story. The doc goes behind the scenes with the makers of the new tunes and takes a look back at the origins of the crazy bird. The documentary will also be available on YouTube channels in December. Now, this is actually something that I am looking forward to. This honestly sounds like something that is pretty interesting. Honestly, maybe this could be a good idea for a video, for, for a future video, to do, like, the history of Woody Woodpecker. I'll definitely take note of that. But anyways, it's honestly very fascinating to look into the history of Woody Woodpecker and look into how he, made a cultural impact, and especially how he would be so huge in Brazil. So something like this does sound pretty interesting, where we get into the history of that. So honestly, that's probably the one thing that I am looking forward to see the documentary, especially if we can go behind the scenes to see how they would go and actually make this series in particular, to see how the environment is. So, honestly, I am curious to go and check that one out. So, other than that, though, I will say, maybe I'm not necessarily excited for the YouTube series, but, at the end of the day, it is pretty nice that they are doing something with Woody Woodpecker. I think at the end of the day, it does have a pretty good heart, and especially, it's nice for Universal to actually recognize one of their animated icons with Woody Woodpecker. That is honestly something that I do feel happy about, that they're not letting Woody go and they are continuing his legacy with this. So at least they are doing something with it. So that is something that I do appreciate it. I can't hate on this thing too much, because the idea of, like, continuing Woody Woodpecker's legacy and keeping him alive, honestly, that is something that does make me happy in my heart. But other than that, yeah, sure, it does, like, let's not lie here. This does look like a piece of crap, but at least it will be something. And also, the documentary will be a fascinating watch. So, with all that said and done, I would like to go and pass on to on to you guys, and I would like to know, what do you guys think about this new YouTube series of Woody Woodpecker? Are you guys interested in checking it out? Are you guys excited to see this one? Are you guys not sure about it? Do you want to take a step back? What do you think? I would like to know your thoughts right over here. Okay, let's see now. It's interesting how the same director of the live-action Abomination is giving Woody Woodpecker another shot in a more respectable form with some decent Flash animation. I myself don't really like the character, as he's too annoying for my taste, but I'm sure many fans, especially the Brazilians, will dig it. Yeah, that is definitely a good thought. That's definitely a good take on that. Do we really care for Woody Woodpecker? Well, the Brazilians do, I'm just saying. I honestly haven't seen Woody Woodpecker in a very long time. The live-action movie really kept me away from Woody Woodpecker for a while. I'm just done with Woody Woodpecker. Sorry, I felt like I'm upset. I just don't care about Woody Woodpecker anymore. Wow. Did the live-action animation hybrid really did leave that much of an impact on you? Oh my god. That's another note for, that's honestly another note to do a video. I mean, like, I know back then, like, when the film was released in North America, like, it seemed all the rage, but maybe I'll consider doing a Woody Woodpecker, like an AniMat watches Woody Woodpecker, that does, that does intrigue me. Let's see, I'm a little iffy. I never thought much of Woody Woodpecker, and my only proper memory of him is the ride at Universal. But the director of that trash live-action movie is taking the helm. On top of the cheap animation, to quote Woody, definitely swipe left, and I feel extremely dirty just by saying that. Yeah, oh my god, a lot of people really do seem to hate that movie. Okay, it really got me curious. Okay, anyways, Let's see now. I'm really not that big on Woody Woodpecker, but it does sound like an interesting series. And also, do you know Alex Zam also directed Disney's Inspector Gadget 2? Honestly, that's probably the only thing that I remember that Alex Zam did other than Woody Woodpecker. I think he also did, like, some Beverly Hills Chihuahua sequels, but that's pretty much it. Let's see. Eric Bauza is voicing Woody in this. He is also voicing Woody in the Hybrid movie. That explains why the audio quality is so low like the movie. Actually, it doesn't. I don't know what's up with his recording. I don't know. Like, it's either he probably recorded it at his home or Universal didn't have much quality. I mean, like, if this is the quality of the animation, do you expect, like, top quality in terms of the recording? I'm just saying, dude. So anyways, I think we're pretty much good with Woody Woodpecker. I'm sure you guys are not all that interested in this one, but that's most likely because you're not Brazilian. But yeah, honestly, yeah, it does look like a piece of crap, but at least its heart is in the right place to keep the spirit of Woody alive. Alright, so with all that said though, let's go ahead and move on to our next story that we have right over here. And with this one, it's going to be an interesting discussion. Now, you guys know that I am definitely a strong supporter for equal rights. But sometimes, you'll know when there are some things when people can freak out a little bit too much over some very small details. Not everything can be pointed out as racist. For example, the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. Apparently, a lot of people seem to be very upset over one scene in particular, and that is the actual Thanksgiving scene where all the kids get together for a Thanksgiving feast. And yeah, honestly, Comic Book doesn't seem all that good when it comes to uploading their images on my web browser here, so I actually do have an image. Let me go and get it right here. So this is the scene in question. So you might be wondering, what is wrong with this scene in particular? Well, apparently what made people really upset is actually the fact that, you see, everybody is sitting at the table, everybody is all together, and you see everybody that's on the side right over here. You see, like, Charlie Brown, you see Lucy, you see Snoopy, you see, I forgot what your name is, I'm not that much of a Charlie Brown person, but then, on the other side of the table, you got Franklin. Now, Franklin is known to be the only black kid among Charlie Brown's friends. And apparently, Franklin literally has one entire side of the table, and everyone else is all sitting on the side. Like 4 people are all on the side, including Snoopy, and then on the other side, you just got Franklin. Let me just go read a little bit from my source here in comicbook.com, as it states right over here. The meal, buttered toast, pretzel sticks, popcorn, jelly beans, and ice cream sundaes, is served at the table in the backyard. And while all's well that ends well, with everybody ending up inviting to Charlie and Sally's grandmother's meal, it's the seating arrangement at its unusual dinner that has some fans on social media heated. Franklin, the one and only black friend in the group, is seated by himself on one side of the table, while the others is crowded in the rest of the friends. On top of that, he is sitting on a lawn chair as opposed to everyone else's proper furniture. And from there, we got a lot of reactions on social media, like someone saying, "Am I woke now? Why is Franklin and Charlie Brown Thanksgiving sitting all by himself at the table? Man, things that I did not notice as a child." And then we also got, "Watching Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving is hard, knowing they put my boy Franklin at the end of the table by himself." And then we'll put in one other example. "How come Franklin, Charlie Brown's only black friend, sits alone on the other side of the table and in a lawn chair?" So, of course, this actually got a lot of people upset over this one particular scene where they decided to go and ditch Franklin on the godforsaken side for a Charlie Brown Christmas. Now, honestly, if I may put my opinion right over here, for me, I don't think this is fully intentional. I don't think that when the animators were crafting this scene in particular, I don't think they realized that, You know, they're not being racist. They're not thinking it's like, we're gonna put the black kid here and then we're gonna put everyone else on one side. You know, just to separate, just to have a segregation right over here. You know, they didn't do that. Like, Charlie Brown is not the epiphany of, you know, like, he's not the personification of Donald Trump ideologies. Like, Charlie Brown is not associated with any form of nationalism whatsoever. Not any, you know, Charlie Brown isn't associated with any form of bigotry. So I don't think that this was actually done on purpose. They didn't actually do this for the sake of ditching the black kid on one side. So yeah, I don't think there's really anything that would seem intentionally racist. It's just a little bit accidental. That and also the argument about the whole lawn chair thing. Now, in this scene in particular, they did do one little gag where apparently Franklin tries to sit down on the lawn chair and apparently it broke into pieces and stuff. But honestly, if you may look closer in this scene in particular, you'll notice that everybody actually has a different kind of chair. Like, you got this one that's a folding chair, and like you got all these different types of chairs, and even okay, so apparently her name is Sally. Now I'll try to remember that. Yeah, like Sally right over here, like her chair, it's just it's just a rocking chair. And I just realized I think I called her Lucy. I meant to say Peppermint Patty. Sorry about that. But yeah, like, you got all these different types of chairs, so of course one of them is actually going to be a lawn chair. It just so happens that Franklin got to be the one who actually got that chair in particular. So honestly, yeah, like, calling this racist, I don't really think so, because it's hard to imagine that honestly the animators would intentionally do that. It's just something that would seem a little bit more of a coincidence, and decided to just make that seating arrangement just like this and just have Charlie Brown be close to everybody where they can all yell at him for not having a proper Thanksgiving dinner. You know, it just turns out to be a little bit more of a coincidence right over here. So I'm not going to call foul. I'm not going to call racist on this one. It's just, honestly, it just seems a little bit of a coincidence. Now, I do understand that, yes, it may seem a little bit racist. I know that, like, just looking at this picture alone, it would seem something that would feel a little bit unusual. But honestly, I don't think this was intentional. There's no Trump supporting ideas when it comes to making any of this. So no, I don't think that a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving is racist. But there is one thing that I do agree about this controversy, that honestly, when you look at the seating arrangements, it does seem like a pretty dick move to leave Franklin alone in one spot of the area. Like, he's got all this space and everybody is all crowded up on the other side, you know? Like, if you were in Franklin's shoes, wouldn't you feel insulted that you seem to be the only one at your side of the table? Like, can't Charlie Brown or Snoopy or Peppermint Patty, like, you know, can't they lend a hand and just, you know, move to one side so Franklin doesn't necessarily have to be alone? You know, that just seems like a bit of a douchey thing here. That's honestly my critique on this. It's just like, why do you gotta leave Franklin on one side of the table? Like, yeah, it's not racist, but it's a bit of a dick move to leave the one kid on the side right over here. Like, this ain't a freaking edge table. This is a pretty long table. If you're able to have 4 people entirely on one side, then I think you could spare a few to go on Franklin's side, man. You know, help a Franklin out. You know, that's all I'm saying. Just help a Franklin out. It seems a bit like a dick move for the Charlie Brown gang. I mean, how can you say grace and be thankful when you're pretty much trying to ditch Franklin right over here? That's all I'm saying. Okay, so with all that said, let me just go onto the chat wall right over here, and I want to pass it on to you. I know this is a little bit of a quick story, but I would like to know, what do you guys think about the situation? Do you guys think that this is racist, or do you think this is a little bit more of a dick move, that they ditched Franklin on one side and that's it? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about the whole situation. Okay. I honestly want to stay away from this controversy. I'm the kind of person that never wants to get involved with politics. All Charlie Brown had to do was just put Franklin next to Linus, and then and then this thing wouldn't happen. Good grief. Let's see now. Okay. I can understand people getting mad at things like Show Dogs, Peter Rabbit, Sausage Party. That all makes sense. But as a huge Charlie Brown fan myself, in fact, the Peanuts movie remains my favorite animated movie to this day. So I'm going to say this I'm going to say that this screw up is in no way intentional. At least I hope. Yeah, you definitely do bring up a good point. That's the thing. And I do see people saying that it's just an accident. Like this one right over here. It's just an accident, I think. If it was really racist, he'd be seated with the dog, and the regular old person would say, "That's how we did in my day." Yeah, like, that's one good thing. At least we don't have Bill Melendez coming in trying to say, like, "Well, that Franklin deserves to be alone on his side. Franklin deserves to be feeding off of a food bowl." At least we don't have, like, that kind of crazy reaction. So I'm sure, like, this is all just a little bit of an accident, As an insane mouse would say, it's all a misunderstanding. So let's see now. I think they did this to make the scene easier for the animators because it's hard to draw several characters on both sides on the table when it comes to angles. Not necessarily. That I would have to disagree because, like, all you have to do is just take this and you just flip it and you put it on one side. Especially when it comes to Charlie Brown, it's like one of the most, the thing is with Charlie Brown is that it's one of the most limited animations that you can find, probably even more than Hanna-Barbera. Like, it ain't gonna be that hard, it's not, like, if you could put 4 people on one side for the sake of the animation, then you could put 4 people on the other side as well. I'm just saying. Oh my god, and already people are making hashtags of #HelpFranklin. We need to go and help Franklin. Okay, let's see. If this was truly racist, people would have brought this up back in 1973 when it first aired. Or honestly, more specifically, if it actually was that racist, then people would have brought it up, like, just recently. Like, I don't know how this right now is getting controversy after all the years when it would get aired on ABC or CBS or NBC or wherever it would be aired. I mean, like, it's not that, like, after all this time, only now you realize this thing is happening? I mean, like, how come people didn't recognize it, like, in 2016 or back last year? Somehow now seems to be the moment to go, "Hey, Franklin, what are you doing alone?" I don't know, it just seems a little bit weird, but yeah, it's not racist. It's a bit of a dick move for the Charlie Brown gang to leave Franklin on one side, but I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a racist thing for them. Okay, so with all that said and done, now it is time that we shall go into the grand finale. And for this one, don't worry, this one will be a lot more optimistic than last one. This is gonna be a lot more happier, and we will get a lot more exciting news than last time. So, right over here, what I am going to be talking about is actually going to be a bit of a bonus miscellaneous. We're going to be taking a step out of animation, and we are going to go into the world of the Disney parks, because just recently we got a lot of exciting announcements regarding some of the things that will be happening in the future of Disney. Now, you may have heard in some of the other reports that apparently Disney will be spending a grand total of $24 billion for the next 5 years at the Disney parks all around the world, considering that there are some big plans that are going to be ahead at Tokyo Disneyland, at Disneyland Paris, at Shanghai Disneyland, in Hong Kong Disneyland, and of course in the American Disneylands at Disneyland and Walt Disney World. Now, of course, some of you might be wondering, well, what is it? Is there anything special happening? Is there a special event that happened? Well, yes. Apparently, all this occurred at Destination D, celebrating Mickey Mouse. And what is it? Well, apparently it's a place where people would go and announce some big news about what's going to be in the future of the Disney parks. More specifically, it was from Bob Chapek, the chairman of Disney Parks Experiences and Consumer Products, where he came in and revealed a whole bunch of new stuff that is going to be at Disney. And on top of that, I just want to say right now that I'm not going to go and talk about everything that Chapek went and discussed about. Like, he did mention some things that we already know, including showing the people that were there a little bit more stuff that's going to be happening with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which is going to be coming soon at Disney's Hollywood Studios and at Disneyland. And on top of that, they also gave a preview of what's going to be happening with the Skyway, or the Skyliner to be specific. So this is going to be a new mode of transportation. So we see they got this giant gondola behind Bob Chapek and Mickey. And this is going to be a new way for people to go from one area of Walt Disney World to another. And on top of that, they would also go and discuss about some of the new hotels, including a brand new hotel called the Disney Riviera Resort and also the Disney Lakeside Resort. And on top of that, discussing a little bit about the highly anticipated Star Wars hotel that is coming at Walt Disney World. But some of the bigger stuff that they went and revealed at Destination D is apparently some little pieces of information that are exciting to know about with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Now, you guys may know Star Wars Galaxy's Edge as the new area that is going to that's going to be themed of Star Wars, that's going to be appearing at Disney's Hollywood Studios and at Disneyland, where in here, apparently they have revealed the names of the 2 rides that are going to be in there. The first one is going to be called where is it? Yes, it's going to be called Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, which sounds like the current state of America fighting against Donald Trump and his fascist regime. And the next one that they also revealed is apparently going to be called Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Now, they did put in some small teaser trailers, but they don't necessarily reveal a whole lot. Now, we know that with Smuggler's Run, it will take guests into the Millennium Falcon and they're going to fly around it. And then at the same time, Rise of the Resistance is going to take guests into an epic battle of the Resistance versus the First Order, in which they also promise that there will be an epic battle against Kylo Ren. So that's the big thing that they have revealed in terms of Galaxy's Edge. But on top of that, another fascinating piece is that they have also revealed that there will be some new music created for Galaxy's Edge, which will be done by John Williams. Yes, the legendary composer who did the music for all the Star Wars films. He is back in order to enhance the Star Wars experience with his music. So that is going to be something really exciting to go and check out. Now, this is actually going to be opening in the summer of 2019 at Disneyland and in the fall of 2019 at Walt Disney World. So we will have to wait and see with how this one is going to go, but I can guarantee you this will be absolutely epic. And even for me, I feel pretty excited for it, but excuse me about that. But one thing that I will say right now, I am going to, even though I am excited for the rides and stuff like that, I am definitely going to dread of the lineups that are going to create. Seriously, this is going to be something that will cause a lot of human trafficking. Or not human what the fridge am I saying? Wrong words. Holy crap. I am so sorry. That is not what I meant. What I meant to say is that there will be a lot of traffic with massive lineups, and you'll see that the lineups are going to be like 3 hours long, like at minimum for each of these rides. So it is going to be absolutely insane. So I'm just going to say, if you're planning to go at Disneyland or Disney World at the end of the year, or at the end of 2019 specifically, brace yourselves. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so with that said, let's move on to some of the other announcements. Yes, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, I've already mentioned that. There's going to be like a little mini celebration, like mostly an excuse to go and sell off some merchandising and stuff like that, called Get Your Ears On, a Mickey and Minnie celebration that's going to be happening at Disneyland. But on top of that, there's also a few nighttime spectaculars that they did reveal that's going to be happening at Disney's Hollywood Studios and at Epcot. And first of which, I'm sure you guys here at the Crazy Cartoon Cast, you guys are going to be really excited about. All right, let me go and read this in my source here through the D23 website as it states here. It says, animation fans, you're going to want to visit Disney's Hollywood Studios this year. Chapek also announced an all-new cinematic nighttime experience, Wonderful World of Animation, coming May 1st as part of the 30th anniversary of Disney's Hollywood Studios. The show will use state-of-the-art technology to take guests on a magical journey through more than 90 years of Disney animation, all beginning with, of course, Mickey Mouse himself. So this is a nighttime spectacular, probably with fireworks and projections on the Chinese theater and all that kind of stuff, where they're going to be honoring all the animated films and all the cartoons that Disney has done in the past 90 years, starting from Mickey Mouse all the way up to Ralph Breaks the Internet. And of course, they're going to include some of the Pixar movies as well. But this is going to be an entire nighttime show that will be celebrating everything animation. So that is definitely something for animation fans like you guys that you got to go and keep an eye on. All right, so of course, they also revealed some activities that will be happening at the Disney Cruise Line, where apparently, if you are going in the Disney Fantasy next summer, you will have a little bit of a celebration called Mickey and Minnie Surprise Party at Sea. So, of course, considering that we just had the 90th anniversary of Mickey Mouse, of course, they will do so many things in order to celebrate Mickey's party and all that stuff. Oh, but then I would have to say this would have to be the grand finale, the stuff that they have mentioned about what's happening at Epcot. Now, before I get into the real big one, before this beauty that you see right over here, let me go and discuss about what are some of the things that they have revealed that's going to be happening at Epcot. Well, first of all, they have revealed the name of what's going to be the Ratatouille ride that will be opening sometime, I believe, in 2021, which now it will be called Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, and you will be finding that in the France Pavilion at Epcot. But that's not going to be the only change that will be happening in France, because on top of that, there is also going to be a brand new Beauty and the Beast sing-along, which is entirely created by Don Hahn. And you guys know Don Hahn being the producer of both the animated and the live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast. So he created this entire sing-along, and it's not going to be replacing the show that is currently in France. I believe it's called L'Impression de France. But what's going to be happening is that they're going to be switching it up. Like, at one point, they'll put in Impressions of France, and then at another point, they'll put in Beauty and the Beast. So they're just going to be switching things up. And also, on top of that, they are also going to be updating the 360-degree show, Oh Canada, which is in the Canadian Pavilion. So now they're going to be putting a brand new update on that. So maybe it's no longer going to be hosted by Martin Short. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But a new 360 show of Canada, that sounds pretty impressive. So honestly, it'll be the place where I'm going to go in and feel a little bit sad, where I'm just going to look up and say, I miss home, Montreal. Nah, but then there's going to be the big one, the new nighttime spectacular. You might remember the news. If you do listen to theme park news, then you probably have heard that pretty soon, Illumination Reflection of Earth is soon going to be ending after nearly 20 years at Epcot. But now they are actually going to go and replace them. And, actually going to go and replace the nighttime show, in which I am going to be reading it entirely from my source, where it states that your nights at Epcot are about to get a little brighter. as Chapek announced that Nighttime Spectacular Illuminations will have an all-new transformative spectacular set to debut in 2020. It will celebrate how Disney music can inspire people from all around the world, featuring massive floating set pieces, custom-built LED panels, choreographed moving fountains, lights, pyrotechnics, and lasers. But before the new show debuts, there will be a limited time experience Epcot fans will love called Epcot Forever, a true celebration of this timeless park. Debuting in fall 2019, set to classic Epcot tunes, the show begins with a spark of imagination that quickly grows into an epic spectacle of fireworks, music, lighting, lasers, and choreographed special effects kites. So that's pretty much the whole thing that they have revealed. So first of all, I will say in terms of the new rides that they have announced, well, honestly, they didn't really announce much. All we know so far is just going to be the names. We don't know what's going to be happening in the rides. All we know is just what they're going to be called. Rise of the Resistance and Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Now, it does sound pretty interesting, but it doesn't necessarily explain a whole lot. I mean, with Remy's Ratatouille Adventures, now we know what's going to be the English name, and if you really want to know how the ride is going to be, well, I guess you can go on YouTube, and you can go search up how it is in Disneyland Paris, because it's going to be a clone of that ride integrated onto Walt Disney World. Which is still honestly pretty exciting because, let's be honest, World Showcase really does need a whole bunch of new rides. I mean, like, so far there is only Norway that supplied a legitimate ride, and technically also Mexico as well, but other than that, yeah, you don't really have all that much other than shows. Let's see now. Other than that, oh yes, the Nighttime Spectaculars. I think that's also the other things to go and mention about this. So, first of all, we do have the wonderful world of animation, and also I just want to say right now that one thing that I will say regarding both Nighttime Spectaculars, like the upcoming Illuminations and this wonderful world of animation, I really would like to know how this is going to try to go and stand out from some of the other fireworks shows that we have already seen at Walt Disney World. Now, I love the Nighttime Spectaculars at Disney World. Like, they really are inspiring. They really are absolutely phenomenal. And they really do cap off the ending. You know, they really do cap off the day very well. Like, honestly, like, I got a tear in my eye when I saw the Pixar show, like the Pixar fireworks show at Disneyland. It really was amazing. But honestly, just by seeing this, it's like, honestly, they're just going to show the best of the best at Disney with a little Nighttime Spectacular. And one thing I want to know is just, like, how are you going to stand out from what you have already shown us before, like, at the Magic Kingdom? Like, what is going to make this in particular more different than what we have already seen in the Magic Kingdom? And hopefully, maybe with this one, they will lean a little bit more towards making the process of animation, seeing what animation has delivered us just by a few drawings and flipping the pages, or seeing what computer animation can do. So not only it would be something to honor animation and honor all these characters that you see here, like Mickey and Aurora and Ralph and Kronk and Yzma on the side here, and also the Incredibles, Coco, Finding Nemo, and all that kind of stuff. It's not only going to be honoring the characters, but it's also going to be honoring the animators behind them. So hopefully that could be the case, but all I'm asking is just to see how they can put in a little unique twist onto how are they going to honor animation with this Nighttime Spectacular. That is going to be something remain to be seen. But then at the same time, we also got Illumination. Now, when I first heard that it's going to be about Disney music, and even in the pictures right over here, you do see that they're going to include characters such as you see Hercules in the middle, is singing Go the Distance. You see Miguel from Coco, and you also see Moana on the side. Like, honestly, again, I feel like they're just copying a little bit too similar to how it's already done at the Magic Kingdom and stuff like that. But then when they do mention about how it's more connected to the world, like how these Disney music would connect with the world, okay, then I could see where it would be a little bit connected to Illumination, where you do see the spirit of Illumination integrated in here, especially with all the floating pieces and like the choreographed fountains and all that kind of stuff. So honestly, it is really it is interesting to see how there is a little bit of that spirit of Illumination, where it is a celebration of the world itself and all the different diverse countries that are included. So honestly, again, I am curious to see how they can pull this off, but hopefully it won't be just something that they would copy a little bit too much from what they would normally do at the Magic Kingdom. But then, honestly, there's one thing that they've mentioned here that I feel like we're going to probably see a little bit more often than just this one little, we're going to see this a little bit more than just this little limited time in 2019 and stuff like that with Epcot Forever. Okay, this right over here, I could definitely see that this will be a major fan favorite. Like in this part, like this is going to be a major throwback to all the classic moments at Epcot, like not just with stuff like, of course, mentioning with a spark of imagination. I'm sure we will prominently see characters like Dreamfinder and Figment be in here. And honestly, if this show Epcot Forever, if the stars or the hosts would actually be Dreamfinder and Figment, like oh my god, that would actually be amazing. But I will say right over here that in this case, I'm sure people are going to be loving this with the way that it would throw back all of like the classic moments of all the probably like a little throwback of stuff like Food Rocks or Universe of Energy or like Cranium Command and like, showing all the things that has happened at Epcot. I'm sure this is something that fans are going to really eat up, that they will absolutely adore. And I got a feeling that this is not going to be the only time it's going to come out. Like, this is going to be something that will periodically appear. Maybe for, like, special anniversaries or... what would actually be really cool? Is if this could be, like, a once-a-year event. Like, every year for the anniversary of Epcot, they would, like, I think it would be, like, on October 1st, and, like, maybe for, like, more than a week or something like that, they would actually go and show Epcot Forever. That would honestly be really cool, but honestly, I don't think this is, for me, I got a feeling this is not going to be something where it's going to be a come-and-go type of deal. This is going to be something that will periodically return as something that it would become a total fan favorite. Much like some of the things that has happened at Epcot, including Horizons, Journey into Imagination, and all that kind of stuff. So, honestly, that I am honestly, out of all the things that they have revealed here at Destination D, I think Epcot Forever is going to be the thing that I'm keeping my eye out on the most. And that's pretty much all the updates that they have brought up at Destination D. So, with all that said and done, I want to know from the chat wall, what do you guys think about the new announcements that are going to be coming up at Disney? The new names that have been revealed for the rides, the new nighttime spectaculars. I want to know your thoughts on this. I want to know, are you guys excited? Are you guys doubtful? I want to know, what are your opinions on some of the things that have been announced right over here? So, let me see now. Let's see. I kind of wish they made Monsters University Scare Simulator for the Magic Kingdom. Imagine the human kids. I've never heard of this Scare Simulator. Imagine the human kids and even parents getting a chance to scare the daylights out of the dummy. I don't know. We'll see. Could be an idea. Maybe it could be the thing that will replace Stitch's Great Escape. I mean, it's not like the place is... it's not like they would have anything currently happening in the attraction right now. They got rid of Stitch. Just saying. Let's see. They should never have changed Journey into Imagination. Well, yeah, that is definitely true. That was a massive mistake, turning it into Journey into Your Imagination, which is unanimously agreed to be the worst ride to ever appear at Walt Disney World. And not the worst Disney ride ever, because Superstar Limo already got that position, but just saying. Alright, so... honestly, okay, yeah, a lot of people seem to be pretty excited. It seems that a lot of people are pretty hyped up for the news. But I think with all that said and done, I think we're pretty much good with this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. So, I just want to say right now, thank you guys so much for watching, and once again, I just want to say thank you all so much for your great support. It is greatly appreciated, and hopefully we can all come out greater and stronger, and we can do some amazing things. Not just me with my videos, but to also create an amazing community with you guys. So, with all that said and done, I just want to say once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see you later, dudes!